I don't live with many regrets. Everything happens for a reason and all that. But sometimes regrets can serve as a powerful instruction of what to do or what not to do in the future. When I was 18 years old, I remember I wanted to travel the world as a backpacker until I was 25. Maybe settle down at that point, find a lovely Spanish wife and open my own hostel. But 5 years later, now I'm 23, I've realised that although I thought I had a 7-year plan, if anyone would have prodded at that plan when I was 18, we would have quickly realised it didn't account for the years after I was 25. There's a mindset I have now which I would have loved to have 5 years ago. It would have helped me avoid many depressive ruts, pitfalls and decision-making crossroads I got myself into. But again, everything happens for a reason and all that. The mindset I wish I had earlier, which I have now, is the infinite game mindset. In his book, The Infinite Game, is that the right way around? Simon Sinek differentiates between two types of games we can play in life: infinite and finite games. A finite game has known players, a clear set of rules, and a distinct beginning and end. A 90-minute football game, a money-centred business which is only built to last 3 years, or being in a relationship with someone you don't love are all finite games. Also consider the specific example of going to university for 3 years just to put a qualification on your CV. That's about as finite games get. An infinite game, however, has no time horizon and no definite end to the game. It's impossible to win an infinite game because the whole point of the game is to continue playing. Infinite games have infinite time horizons. So, in an infinite game, the goal isn't to get married, it's to stay married. The goal isn't to get a six-pack, it's to stay healthy. The goal isn't to complete your degree, it's to stay a lifelong student. Now, perhaps it would have been too much to ask of my 18-year-old self to adopt this infinite mindset, but the tranquility it brings is incredible because we live in a world where most people are playing finite games. Because all we have to do is go onto YouTube or social media and see most people engaged in this finite behaviour where they set a goal, they complete it, they post it on social media so everyone can see, and that they can say, done it, completed it. People's time frames have narrowed into impulsivity, which is why thinking infinitely scares the crap out of most people. The key difference between a finite and an infinite game is the time horizons. In an infinite game, the game continues being played regardless of the expiration of the players, i.e. your death. So the old saying that wise men plant trees for a shade they know they will never sit in is a perfect description of an infinite game. One of the best examples of an infinite game is the Declaration of Independence, which was signed in 1776 when the founders of America got together to figure out what infinite game they're playing. Maybe they hadn't read Simon Sinek's book, but the founders of America decided that they wanted to keep the view that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Sinek says there are 5 elements of the infinite game: advancing a just cause, building trust in teams, studying your worthy rivals, preparing for existential flexibility, and demonstrating the courage to lead. But for the next few minutes, we're just going to zoom in on the first part: advance a just cause. A just cause is a specific vision of a future state that does not yet exist, a future state so appealing that people are willing to make sacrifices in order to help advance towards that mission. A just cause is a bit different from a why. A why is like the foundation of a house. It's the starting point. It gives what's built upon it a good structure and strength. Our just cause, however, is the ideal vision we have of the house we hope to build. Sinek says we can spend a lifetime building the house, and yet it still won't be finished. However, the results of our work will give form to the house. Think about the apparent just cause of most companies and people on the internet. It runs something along the lines of, to offer the highest quality products at the best possible value. But statements like this are egocentric and vague, because it describes nothing about the future state the company or person wants to build. An infinite just cause must be 5 things: for something, affirmative and optimistic, inclusive, open to all those who would like to contribute, service-oriented, for the primary benefit of others, resilient, able to endure change, and idealistic, big, bold, and ultimately unachievable. Before we finish with describing how we can apply this mindset to personal development and everyday life, let's quickly zoom in on these 5 aspects of an infinite just cause. Affirmative and optimistic. An example of a finite game is to fight against poverty. It gives us the impression we can win against an enemy. But what if we changed it to fighting for the right for every human to provide for their own family? Inclusive. Secondly, your just cause must serve as an invitation to others to join advancing a cause bigger than all of you. And when people join an infinite just cause, they don't show up to get, they show up to give. An inclusive Just Cause paints a clear picture of the impact it intends to have on the world. Think of most jobs you apply for nowadays. They all read, "We're looking for passionate people." But what the hell does that mean? Everyone is passionate about something. Service oriented. A Just Cause involves two parties, the givers and the beneficiaries. If we are the sole beneficiaries of our work, that's not a just cause, that's a vanity project. How do you pronounce that word?
Beneficiary.
Resilient. Book publishers who saw themselves as just publishers missed out on the opportunity to make the next Amazon Kindle. Music companies who saw themselves as just CD sellers missed out on the opportunity to make their own version of Spotify or iTunes. A just cause does not centre around a product. Products are fragile and they can be wiped out overnight with new advancements from technology. A just cause can withstand crisis, is adaptable, resilient and timeless. Idealistic. Finally, a just cause is like an iceberg. All we see is the tip, what's already been created. But no matter how much success we achieve, the just cause always lies ahead, not behind. So how can we apply this idea to self-improvement? We all know the unsettling feeling of accomplishment and dissatisfaction after completing a goal. You feel happy when you achieve the goal, but then you're depressed and anxious 2 days later because you're struck with the thought of, oh damn, what do I do now? That's what I was doing at 18 years old, going from finite pursuit to finite pursuit, having to revisit the same planning process after completing each one. Simply choosing another big audacious goal is not infinite play, it's just another finite pursuit. But if I would have been courageous enough to not think 1, 2 or 3 years into the future but decades long and to really think about the infinite games that I'm playing, that would have been incredible at 18. I remember watching a clip 2 years ago from Jordan Peterson and he said something along the lines of, "Pursue a goal you cannot achieve." It instantly resonated with me and I wrote it down. But after coming across that idea and seeing it every day for the next week because I had it on a post-it note right on my desk, it started to terrify the hell out of me because we're obsessed with this idea of completion. Oh no, but I won't have immediate results to show other people, you might argue. Lose your vanity and realise that when you're playing an infinite game, you wake up every single day knowing exactly what needs to be done. You go to bed at night with a smile of accomplishment on your face because you've served a purpose that benefits the world and that is bigger than yourself. You carry a structured, bounded step of groundedness in your everyday actions and your thoughts, and you will reflect on your deathbed on a life well lived because you lived in service to something that was much bigger than yourself. Here are some infinite games I'm playing and how I would link it to personal development. I choose to play the infinite game of helping other people feel valued and to improve their lives through my ability to listen, share ideas and communicate. So find your infinite game and serve it, and include as many people along the way as you can. Thank you for listening. Would I recommend reading this book? Probably not, because I think the idea is enough. Hopefully that was worth a like and subscribe, and enough of a call to you to start playing your own infinite game. Click the link down below and you can join the newsletter, which I send out to more than 30 people every single week. It includes 3 minutes of philosophical or psychological wisdom that you can get straight to your inbox that might just improve your life. So, have a blessed week, and thank you for listening.